Outside of Athens, after a 24-minute drive away from campus, lies a field, and in this field stands a horse. Not the horse one would expect to be standing in the rural outskirts of Athens, but an iron horse sculpture that stands at 12 feet tall. The rusted iron sculpture faces south in an intimidating pose. The field it stands in is pristine, with long rows of deadfall plants stretching out to one side and a building looming far off into the distance. On the other side, a highway cuts through the fields with rows of trees standing in a line. Viewing the sculpture fills me with an odd feeling of reverence, and anyone looking at it would quickly ask themselves what this horse's story is. Only after learning about its history, with all its ups and downs, was I able to understand what makes this horse such a truly remarkable landmark in the Athens area. So why is this sculpture here? To answer that question, one must look all the way back to 1954. The Iron Horse sculpture was crafted in UGA's Fine Arts Building by the sculptor-in-residence Abbott Pattinson. At the time, public art was far from normal, so it faced instant controversy and was quickly vandalized. The vandalism consistently occurred, with students beating it and setting fires underneath it. When looking back, a 1979 edition of the New York Times described the students as having pranced like pagans, destroying an idol, carrying torches, and chanting, "Burn the horse! Burn the horse!" But as much as the students tried, the sculpture could not be destroyed. The statue was soon moved into a warehouse, and from there was transported to the farm of L.C. Curtis, where it still stands today. Knowing this history quickly shifted my view on the horse, and from there I saw something new. Gone was the fierce and majestic horse I had seen before. In its place stood what I now saw as an empty shell. This sculpture was supposed to be something that stood strong in the university as a beautiful piece of art for people to enjoy. Instead, it was ridiculed, attacked, and eventually dumped out into a field to stand on its concrete base, alone, for the rest of time. If I'm being completely honest, the thought of this horse's loneliness actually made me a little sad. But the more I started to think about it, the more I began to see a different story take shape. Sure, this horse has gone through some bad times, but so have we all. Through the rough treatment it faced at UGA to its eventual dumping in the field, it still stands strong. The students with baseball bats couldn't bring it down. The fires set underneath it couldn't bring it down. Even the decades of weather and nature faced in the field couldn't bring it down. Gone was the sad statue I had briefly seen, and back returned the majestic sculpture I first saw. It has been a UGA tradition for years to grab a group of friends and drive over to the Iron Horse to enjoy a sunset or to go stargazing. During my first visit, after learning more about this sculpture, its history and tradition, I began to see just what the appeal of this oddly placed sculpture was. The horse stands strong, never wavering when facing challenges, just as students do as they face trials at college. When I visited the sculpture, I saw something in that strong, rusted iron horse that I also saw in myself, just as I'm sure others do when they visit. It is the constant majesty of this horse that makes it such an appealing spot for students. No matter what, it will always stand there, tall and imposing, as a spot for students to come enjoy their night. In this way, its history, while being negative overall, has led to a positive impact on this sculpture and is sure to provide a base for the Iron Horse to be an Athens landmark for years to come.